Welcome to the Pick 'em Show here on Friday Game Night and Access WDUM. Bo Wilson alongside a bunch of folks this week. Jeff Hart, Caleb Hutchins, our newest picker, Walker McCrary.
Walter?
Who's that? Who's Walter?
Good job,
Great.
Bo.
We needed an intro.
We asked one.
You asked and you shall receive.
Walter.
Walker. Do you know this guy, Walter?
It's the Friday Game Night Pick 'em Show here on AccessWDUN.com and Friday Game Night. Bo Wilson alongside a lot of folks this week. Jeff Hart, Caleb Hutchins, and our newest picker, Walker McCrary, is in with us, and also our producer, the man that puts it all together, Seth Chapman. Welcome, guys. Week one's in the books. A lot of shocking things week one.
A few.
What stood out to you?
Commerce. Going on the road, taking out a two-time defending Class A South Carolina State champion. That was pretty impressive. And from what I gather, I had a story this week with Mark Hollers from Commerce, just kind of talking about they still got majority of that team over there on the South Side. That was the kind of a game that'll make people take notice.
Caleb, let's try and do something with your mic stand here. It's just right in Jeff's face.
Oh, it's in Jeff's face? Oh, sorry about that. Let me see if I
100%.
can adjust. This is going to be noisy.
Hey, I'm fine with that. Leave it alone.
Is that better right there, or is that worse?
That's better. But hey,
Still not good?
angle it this way. There you go.
Okay,
And then
hang on. We can figure this out. Geometry.
Hey, why don't you bend it like
There
this?
we go. That's
bend it like
nice.
Beckham, like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Nice. There we go.
So, can I say what surprised me last week now?
Yes,
go
now
for
that
it.
you fixed yourself, you can.
You lost your time.
All
Let's
right.
move on to the next one.
So, I'm going to go with Gainesville.
Yeah.
Knocking off Marist on the road. And to me, the fact that they won was surprising. What they did in the first quarter, though, was even more eye-catching than that. They got up 20-0. I mean, you were at that game, Bo. You had the call on 94.5 The Lake, obviously. But, I mean, that first quarter, that was the most eye-popping thing to me that happened all night, was just that first quarter. Marist came back, which I think most of us who are familiar with Marist kind of expected a little bit. Gainesville was able to hold on and win, which is impressive in and of itself. But, man, Gainesville had a hot start in the scrimmage against Winder Barrow. I didn't know that they would be able to replicate that, and not only did they replicate it, they had a far better start against Marist than they did against Winder Barrow even.
They did. They had a really explosive start against Marist, which was interesting because we had watched them scrimmage the week before, so we were wondering with the pre-snap penalties and the in-game penalties what that would do. We saw that rear its ugly head in the second half, and we saw Marist get back into it. But I really feel like this Gainesville offense is going to be really, really explosive. You know, by the time they get to region play, and probably before that, because they have a lot of athletes, a lot of very good pieces around Baxter Wright. You can tell his growth over the offseason, also his receiving core. And not to forget Naeem Cheeks. 158 yards rushing for Naeem, against Marist. So, it's a balanced attack for one, but it's a very explosive attack. And, again, only improvement is going to come to this unit, and it's the only way up is up for them because it's going to be explosive sooner or later.
Absolutely.
The only way up is up.
Yes.
I really like that one.
Thanks.
I had to think about that.
Thanks. Write that one down.
Oh, I will. I'll use it later somehow.
Words of wisdom from Bo Wilson.
Yes, words of wisdom.
New segment.
You forgot to do. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
New
segment.
There you go. Let's bring Walker in. Walker, what was some of your surprises for week one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Raven County. New head coach, new quarterback. You knew that the offense was going to still try to be high flying, but having seen Keegan Stover in person the last couple of years at West Forsyth, it's more of a run offense down there for the Wolverines. So to see him come out and throw for 360 some odd yards and 5 touchdowns, that shows me that Raven County is not going to miss a beat this year, and that was a little bit surprising. I thought they might take a tiny step back and not go 10-0, but they look like a 10-0, maybe even a 13-0 going to the semifinals team, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what they looked like week one. I'm also going to give an honorable mention to Buford, not for winning, which I think we all thought they could. I know I picked Thompson. Yeah. But
how dare you?
Right? Yeah.
How dare you?
Well, don't worry. I've learned my lesson.
I hope so.
Not only beating Thompson, but winning 38-7.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody around the country from Georgia or Alabama or anywhere saw that coming.
That was close to as a beatdown of 2 number 1 ranked state champs that you could get. That was really surprising. I knew they were. I kind of felt really good they would win, but I kind of saw me and Bo were talking about this. We saw maybe an instant classic in that game.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
It was a classic for Buford. That was about it.
It was instantly over.
It wasn't. It was close to the first half, but I mean, man, you think Buford's ready for 7A? They look like it.
Maybe.
They look like it.
I would say that you could probably put the shockwave result. You could put that Buford Thompson because that did send some shockwaves across the high school football. Area, especially in Georgia and in Alabama. And when people see those two together.
Just in Gwinnett alone?
Yeah. I mean, it's explosive there. Okay, so not so surprising in the first week.
Not so surprising in the first week.
That's a good question.
Not so surprising. I don't know. Perhaps us taking Dawson a little. We always do this every year. Oh, we're not really sure what they have coming. I don't know what they're going. And they come out and they win their first game. And then at the end of the week, we're like going, okay, but they're only going to get better. And they actually won that game. I mean, I don't know why we keep thinking that that's a surprise because Dawson keeps changing, and yet nothing really changes when you look at the Sid Maxwell offense and the guys that he plugs in. I'm going to have to stop taking them, kind of like, oh, they're going to take a step back. I think they've started to prove themselves that they are a consistent winning program.
We can throw it back to what did surprise us. Are we not going to talk about Andrew Shockley in Banks County?
That's a good one. I think we need to ditch this whole what didn't surprise you because I'm looking at the list of games that Jeff's got on the screen right here, Bo, and I was literally going up the whole list. I don't think there's a single game on the schedule that didn't have something that surprised me in it.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, maybe Dawson County, Jackson County, that's probably about the closest to being the kind of game we thought it was going to be, but everything else, man, yeah, I mean, what Andrew Shockley did for Banks County was just insane. 398 yards, 6 touchdowns. I mean, also, let's talk about Union County knocking off Fannin County, man. Let's talk about how good Lumpkin County looked in their first game under Heath Webb. I mean, just up and down the board, I thought was there were a ton of surprises, I thought, Friday night.
All right, so week 2. What are we looking for in week 2? One thing that you mentioned just a moment ago, Lumpkin County has scored, 60 and 62 or 61 and 62, counting the scrimmage and counting last week's results. Walker, you've covered the Indians for a long time. Can this trend continue for Lumpkin County?
Well, that's one of the things that, when you say, what are you looking for in week 2? My big question is, can the offense keep pace? They scored 44 in a spring scrimmage. They scored 62 in the scrimmage against Banks County and then scored 61 last week against Riverside. So they're averaging 57, 58 points a game just in the 3 games we've seen under Heath Webb. Can that offense keep pace? They've shown they can take it on the road to Armucci and Banks County, but Blairsville's a really tough place to play. That's going to be a very interesting thing for me to watch is can that running game really take hold against what's always a very physical front 7 for Union County?
Yeah, and Union County is going to be a big step up in competition from Riverside Military just across the board in general. Walker, I don't know if you were able to see too much into the Union County Fannin County game, but the Union County side of this game is as interesting to me as the Lumpkin County side because Fannin County's been kind of a power for the last 2 years up there in the mountains, and Union County beat them. I mean, just straight up in what was really a defensive battle. And it's kind of rare for these mountain showdowns to be defensive battles, but that's what this one was. I mean, what's your takeaway on that from the Union County side of this game?
Well, the past few times that Lumpkin and Union have played each other, you have to go back 4 or 5 years since the last time we went up to Blairsville, but they're always a very physical defensive team. So it didn't shock me that they kind of leaned on the defense against Fannin County. What shocked me more is that Fannin County's offense was as unproductive as we've seen them in the past couple of years, like you mentioned, Caleb. It was one of those things that Fannin County has just been so good on the offensive side of the football for the past few years, and then they just ran into a brick wall in that Union County defense. So that's why I say the interesting matchup for me is the front 7 for the Panthers versus that running game for Lumpkin County that put up 300 some odd yards, and Mason Sullins with 4 touchdowns and just 126 yards of rushing on the ground for him. Which side's going to give ground first? I think if it's the defense for Union County that continues to show their will, it's going to be a very low scoring game, because I think Lumpkin County's defense is a lot better than they have been in the past few years. But if it's Lumpkin's rushing attack that proves to be the key and Union has to start kind of packing the box a little bit, Cooper Scott and Cal Faulkner can throw the football around the yard a little bit. So it could be another high-scoring game for Lumpkin County. It's just a matter of, does the front seven for Union County hold up early, or does Lumpkin County take advantage and start running the football and establish that run game early?
You've seen Lumpkin a lot, and, it hasn't been a great program of late. Heath Webb's, he's a little different. He's a real deal. He knows how to build programs. I see this as their first, real test. I think if they put in a good showing against Union County or win this game, I think we can start, saying, hey, let's look, we need to look at them a little bit more. If not, but if I feel like Union, I was impressed that they held Fannin to 7 points last week.
All right, guys, go ahead.
Just real quick, I don't want to look too far ahead in the show, but the line for that game is Union is a 19-point favorite. That's a lot of points for the Panthers.
I would agree with that. We'll get to that portion of the show coming up later on, but. Guys, Jeff and Walker, top of the week 1 results. Yes, congratulations to both of
look
you.
At that!
Look at that!
Finishing 12-6.
And Walker did it without even being on the show.
Yeah,
right.
So
I knew there needed to be a little bit of competition for Bo.
I'd say controversial.
Oh, I'd say there's more than a little at this point.
Only him and Bo saw the picks.
Yes.
We didn't really see the picks, and they're friends. And he says that Walker
Jeff's always crying about something.
But do you really foresee any scenario, Jeff, where Bo gets to look at something in advance and has a chance to rig something and doesn't just rig it for him outright?
Well, that's true, but I was in the lead, and he goes, "Oh, well, Walker was in the picks." And
hold on.
The video's on YouTube. People can check it for themselves.
Look, add to that, Jeff is the one that initially added up the record. So, did you do it correctly?
Of course I did.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Seth coming in this week at third.
My integrity can never be impugned.
Okay,
never.
Moving on.
Yeah,
Seth 11-7.
Who won the St.
third.
Pius Tequila game, Jeff?
St. Pius. I wasn't the one that had that in there. That came from Max Preps, buddy.
All right. Me and Caleb, we were 99, so we're in the basement with the results this week. All right, let's get to the picks this week, starting with our in-depth conversation about 4 games that we have pulled out. White County and Habersham. This one's interesting from a couple different standpoints. Could this be a defensive battle, or could this be an offensive shootout? Jeff?
I don't know. I was at the White County game last week. There was a lot of rain, real wet. There were snap issues for both North Hall and White County. White County put together one really good drive. There were some shaky moments. You look at the Habersham game with Stevens. That was a 3-0 Habersham lead until 20 seconds to go in the third quarter against a Stevens County team we've heard is going to be very, very good. So I do see kind of a defensive battle because I think both offenses they got a little something to prove. Are we going ahead and making our picks?
Make it. Let's go.
I'm going to go with the Raiders at home, but this is going to be an incredibly tight battle, I think.
Yeah, I will go with Habersham Central, too. I think I agree with Jeff. I think it's going to be a defensive game. Now, I said this about Flowery Branch Decatur last week, and it was 39-38. So we'll see how this goes. But I am going to take Habersham Central on the road. I think close game because Habersham White County always seems to be close. I think it'll be close again, but I do like the Raiders in this one. I think they're a little bit more – you got to remember, we're still only in week 2 of the season. White County is still under a new coach. They're still trying to figure some things out. I think Habersham Central's got a lot of experience coming back. That will play into factor here. I like the Raiders on the road.
Walker?
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way. I like White County in this one just because their defense showed me a lot against a spread offense. Now, granted, North Hall's still trying to figure out their spread offense, but they made some plays against the passing attack that North Hall had. And I think that they can have some success against Habersham Central next week or this week coming up in the defensive side of the ball. Both offenses are going to struggle against the good defenses, but I think White County's defense does just enough to be able to pull out the win close.
Seth.
I'm going to follow Walker or Walter, I guess. And
you are following.
I'll follow, and I'll go White County as well.
Okay. I'm going to throw the nod to Hab Central. Of course, I took them last week against Stevens. It almost worked out.
Oh, God. Can I switch my pick now?
But it didn't. But I'm going to go with Habersham Central because, against Stevens County, if you go look down the Stevens County roster and who returned, man, there's a boatload of talent.
Cam Lacey, they got a lot of offensive talent over there for sure.
Quarterback, defense, defensive talent back, a lot of their leading tacklers back, and what Hab Central was able to do in that, leading 3-0 until very late in the third quarter. I think Hab Central shows up in this one trying to make a statement against White County. I think this is somewhat of a small little rivalry.
It's a budding one. It's a budding one.
So I'm going to go with the Raiders again this week to get the win over White County.
All right.
Now, St. Pius at Flowery Branch. This one very interesting because last week, Caleb, you did set it up as a defensive battle. I thought it would be because what we think here, the defense is the better unit for Flowery Branch. Apparently, secondary might be in need of some help for the Falcons. St. Pius, don't know much about them, but they did beat them last year, 21-14. Flowery Branch, that is. Home opener, Flowery Branch.
We'll let the Flowery Branch guy go first. How about that?
What do you got, Flowery Branch boy?
Well, I think this is very different. It's apples to oranges. Flowery Branch's defense is what they're facing this week versus last week. Last week they were facing a Decatur team that was a lot more wide open. This is a St. Pius team that runs the option, and so it's going to be a totally different animal. Now, they have seen St. Pius a lot. This is the third straight year they've played St. Pius, and both of the first two games were close. They were tight games. Now, granted, St. Pius kind of pulled away late in the first matchup that was at Flowery Branch. I'm going to take St. Pius in this one because I do have some concerns about the Flowery Branch defense. I do think this is a competitive game, but I do give St. Pius the edge in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up that pick with Caleb and go with St. Pius as well because I do have some concerns about the defense for Flowery Branch, which we didn't have going into the season. So it is the home opener. I hope I'm wrong, but I'll go with St. Pius this week. Walker, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go St. Pius as well because of exactly what Caleb said. You go from facing a wide open offense to having to face an option-based offense. It's very hard to prepare for. You just don't see it very much. I think St. Pius wins, but like you said, extremely, extremely close.
Seth?
Well, last week going against the flow with Gainesville-Marist worked out for me, so I'm going to do it again with this one. I'm going to go Flowery Branch.
Taking the Hall County teams against the private schools. This is becoming his wheelhouse right here.
Wheelhouse.
Well, the
wheelhouse your head.
What does that mean?
Wow.
Yeah, what
Roundhouse.
You said wheelhouse.
You just make up a phrase?
Yes.
Okay.
So just going back
I'm
to
the producer. I can do that.
New segment.
I'm going to go with St. Pius
Even
as well.
Walker made the motion, made fun of me.
For whatever reason, Branch's defense is suddenly an issue, and they looked game ready when we were watching them in practice and during scrimmage. So I'm not really sure what's, if there's some injuries or they're still working some stuff out, but I'm going to go with St. Pius. I'm like y'all. It could get down to last possession.
All right, so there's the pick on St. Pius and Flowery Branch. All right, a game that Walker mentioned earlier, Stevens at Rabid County. We're going to let you go first, Walker. This one does intrigue me a whole bunch. What say you, Walker?
Yeah, this Stevens County team, they returned a lot. They did, but I really like how quickly Stover picked up the offense for Rabin and showed he could throw the ball around the yard and target Jaden Gibson, who, he picked up right where he left off, 275 yards catch last week on 8 receptions. How do you stop that? And I don't know that Stevens County has enough to be able to slow the entire offense down. They may be able to come up with a game plan to slow down Jaden Gibson, but there's so many weapons there for Stover to be able to get the football to, and it's in Tiger. Give me Rabin County.
I'm gonna go with Walker on this. I too will go with Rabin. I was curious a little bit to see how potent the offense would be. I didn't think they would miss a whole lot, but that was an impressive showing last week on the road. First time, you had a new coach. The first time he's coaching all these guys. You got new parts. And I tell you, kind of an unsung hero on that team for 3 years has been Lane Wyndham. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He's a good blocker and held some protection. Talk about weapons. They have just too many weapons. I think – I don't know if this is going to be like a blowout potential, but Stevens is going to have to score at least 28 points to win this game, and I don't know that they can do that.
I think they can. I agree that they're going to have to score about 28 or so to win the game, but I absolutely think Stevens County can do that.
They couldn't score but 10 last week against, or 14 against Habersham.
This is going to be a step up for Rabun County from a size and a talent standpoint from what they faced last week with Haralson County. Do I think Rabun County's ready for it? Yeah, I do, but I do think Stevens County is really good, and I'm going to take the Indians here. I'm going to take them on the road. I think Rabun County is good, but I want to see them against this Stevens County team specifically because this is going to present them with some size and talent matchups that they're going to face down the road in the playoffs, and this is probably the most of it that they're going to see down the stretch of the rest of the regular season.
I would agree with you, Caleb, on that assessment because you look at Stevens County, again, what they have going back in the secondary. I think, though, or on defense, this is going to be the biggest test for Stevens County as far as their defense goes. Now, will they take Jaden Gibson out of the equation? That's going to be the biggest key, and it's also going to be the biggest issue for the coaching staff because what are they going to do to put Jaden in different positions to be successful against Stevens County's defense? Because you got to know that Jaden, they're going to come in and try to double team Jaden Gibson. And now what's Keegan Stover going to do? Is Lane Wyndham going to go off? What will happen with that? So I think that's going to be the biggest key coming down to what Stevens County's defensive game plan is going to be against Jaden Gibson. I'm going to go with Stevens County this week as well to knock off Rabun County. All right, giggle over there. Seth, what you got?
I take full responsibility for that, by the way.
That's on Caleb 100%. He's a moron.
I couldn't hold it together.
He's a moron.
Wow, we have a public.
Out of all the games, this one probably piqued my interest the most. Looking at our lineups for this week, I'm really excited to be there myself, and I'm gonna pull for Rabun County though.
You're pulling for Rabun County.
That's a different thing from picking Rabun County.
Yeah, so you're a Wildcat now.
I'll pick and I'll pull.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Mountain View at Gainesville. Threw this one on the list because there's a lot of interest in that. Gainesville picked to win this game by the state media, but you look at Mountain View rolling into Gainesville. I'll start this one because I believe that Gainesville is going to be better than they were last week. I think Gainesville rolls in this one against Mountain View. That's all I have to say about it because that's what I think is going to happen. That offense is going to put up astronomical numbers this week against Mountain View.
Mountain View's a 7A team.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to agree with you. I think
Mountain View's a 7A team, Jeff.
Yes, I know that, but
okay.
I like Gainesville in this also.
Okay.
I was just testing you.
Yeah.
See how firm you were on that.
Good test.
Okay. No, I'm looking forward. I get to go. I'm going to the Gainesville game this week. I'm looking forward to getting my first eyeballs during the regular season and with all of their pieces in play and how they're putting it all together. Was really shocked at the beginning of that game last week with Marist. We're sitting in White County and the entire press box is just with the mouth open. It's 27-0. But then in the second half it's 27-14, 27-23. So it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see, is Gainesville going to put a whole 4 quarters together, or are we going to be sweating one out in the second half?
I'm taking Gainesville as well. Gainesville, I think, will be better this week. They're back at home, and Mountain View is not as good as Marist. So this one's pretty simple for me. I'm taking Gainesville, and I agree with you, Bo. I don't think it'll be particularly close.
Agreed. 100% everything Caleb just said. I echo it.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to pick Gainesville, but I think that maybe the distractions for Gainesville being at home with everything going on and how well that they performed against Marist last week and all the excitement behind the team, I think Mountain View can kind of come in and keep this game close for a little bit. But I agree, Gainesville pulls away and ends up winning this one comfortably.
All right, guys, let's get to the rundown of the rest of the pick'ems this week, starting at the top of the list, and we'll just go around and, you know the drill, throw the picks out. Bluff at Adairsville.
I'll start. I'm going to go with Bluff.
Bluff.
Yeah, I'll take Cherokee Bluff too in this one.
Cherokee Bluff responds. Big win.
I agree. Bluff on that one. Dawson County at Lambert. This one's interesting.
Tough one. Going to a 7A Forsyth County team, and historically, Dawson County does not have a whole lot of success when it comes to doing this. Lambert has been improved over the last couple of years, and I'm going to take the Longhorns down in Suwanee on this one.
I'm going to go with the Tigers in this one. It helped me out last week against you guys. Obviously, didn't
Not
help
enough.
me that much, but, it kept me going, below 500. So I'm going to pick the Tigers in this one just because it's at Lambert. Coach Maxwell, he's had history at Lambert, so
a little bit of a homecoming for him.
Yeah, that Tigers win this one.
I'm going to go with Lambert, but we were talking about this earlier. You're right. Sid probably wants to win this one pretty bad, but I agree with Caleb too. They've been very improved the last couple years, and Dawson's still feeling some things out. I think so. That's a lot to chew off early in the season like this, but Dawson always gets better as the season goes along. Would not shock me at all if they pull the upset.
Walker?
Yeah, I'm going to go Lambert. I think the numbers and the speed on the defensive side is too much for the Tigers offense. Lambert wins this.
Lambert.
I feel lonely again.
You should.
Duluth at Jackson County.
Oh, this is a really tough call. This is one of the toughest calls of the week to me right here because, Duluth is 1-0, but historically one of the more struggling programs out of Gwinnett County, but it is a 7A school. Jackson County's at home. I took Jackson County last week and I lost, so I feel like I deserve it if I miss on this, but I'm going to take Jackson County again. So Panthers, help me out here. I'm picking you for the second week in a row. Don't do me like you did last week. No, I actually do like Jackson County in this game. I think coming back home, tough loss to Dawson County, but that was a game that I think Jackson County looks back on and thinks they probably kind of let it get away from them with that big run Dawson County went on in, the third quarter. So Jackson County really outplayed Dawson County for a large swath of that football game. If they can put four, that's a word.
Yeah,
I know, but are we allowed to use that on this very simplistic show?
If they put a full 4 quarters together, I think they can actually take care of Duluth. Okay,
you deserve
Seth,
to lose.
what say you?
Look, you deserve to lose just for saying swath.
I say Jackson County.
Walker, what say you?
I'm going to go Duluth. I think Jackson County still figuring some things out. They did outplay Dawson County for a lot of that game last week, but when they started not playing well and Dawson started playing really well, it was very lopsided.
Yeah.
I think Duluth can do that, and I think Duluth wins close on the road.
When it went wrong for Jackson County, it went very, very wrong. That's correct. Yeah.
I'm going with Duluth. I think size will be an issue here, and Duluth they've been improving, and Jackson County that's a game they should have probably won last week. So it's kind of disturbing that they let that get away from them, and I think 7A Duluth is going to be a little much for them.
Duluth in a close one for me. East Jackson at Social Circle. Can East Jackson get on track this week? I don't think so. I'm going to go with Social Circle in this one.
I'm going to agree with you on that. I think the Eagles show they still have some offensive things they have got to work out. Did not look good last week. Social Circle is pretty tough at home.
I'll take Social Circle too.
Same.
Long road trip. I'll take Social Circle.
All right, next up is Towns County and Lake Oconee Academy. They actually travel to Hiawassee, beautiful Hiawassee. Jeff, you've talked to Coach Rock. What you got?
I'm going to tell you, first of all, he's still steaming. You want to talk about a team that got literally hosed out of a win. They had, you saw the play, Bo, a phantom offensive pass interference call with 36 seconds to go that cost them the ball game. It's a pretty good Towns County team. Lake Oconee, this is going to be their first official game against a GHSA school. And they're going to struggle. They're still putting the program together. I'm going to go with Towns. They should win this comfortably, and they're probably still mad after what happened last week in North Carolina.
They need to be mad because that was just one of those head-scratching plays or calls on offensive pass interference.
And Rockmore actually, not to out him too much, but when I first told him, he said, "Yeah, I'm not going to say we got hosed." Then he texted me later, like, "Yeah, we got hosed." So they got hosed. There was no doubt.
Not
about
to out
it.
him, but I'm out him right now.
You're going to out him right now. I'm going with Towns County to respond big at this one against Lake Oconee Academy.
Yeah, I think Towns County wins comfortably.
Agreed.
Lakeview Academy at Athens Christian. Lakeview coming back last week against Kings Ridge and winning that game. Kind of impressive comeback. Jeff, what do you think here?
Why do I have to keep going first?
Because you won last week.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you're going to use that against me?
Yeah, we heard it like 17 times.
I tied.
Live.
I forgot to tell y'all, I won last week.
Yes.
Anyway.
I tied.
No, I won last week.
And he got his lock,
We got
too.
your picks after the fact,
lock.
Walker. So
I win the tiebreaker.
Actually, you did finish second, but go ahead.
Wow. I tell you, y'all just will never let me have a victory, will you? Never.
Well, when you win, we
Yeah,
will.
when you actually
man.
win,
Oh,
you can
wow.
have it.
I'm going with Athens Christian on this because Lakeview has never beaten them in their history. Athens Christian has traditionally been a pretty good program. I was impressed with the comeback last week with Lakeview, but Athens Christian has just been a program Lakeview has just never been able to beat. So I'm gonna go with that, but. This is one of those, like earlier in another pick. If Lakeview wins this, it would not shock me.
Yeah, I'll take Athens Christian for all the reasons Jeff said. Nothing really to add. I'll second the motion.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Athens Christian as well, even though I think this is their opener this week. But I'm going to go with Athens Christian.
Athens Christian.
Lumpkin County at Union County. We'll start with Walker on this one.
Very close game. I like Lumpkin. I like the rushing attack. I think that they're going to be able to find a way to get Mason Sullins and Will Wood and Cal Faulkner and Cooper Scott in some open spaces in the run game and the pass game. I think they do just enough to get the win on the road and start 2-0 for the first time in, I think, like 50 years.
Man. I'm taking Union County because of that defense that they flexed against Fannin County last week. That was just really impressive, and this is the first real test for Lumpkin. Yes, they've been winning by huge blowouts, but Banks County struggled over the last several years. Riverside is still trying to rebuild their program. Union County going to Blairsville. This is as you mentioned earlier, Bo, the first real test for this Indians team this year. I'm going to take the Panthers, but I do think this is a competitive football game.
I think these two teams are somewhat similar when you look at Union County and what they're kind of putting together. You're talking about their defense. Now, their offense, it's still a build in progress with new quarterback Caden Tanner there, although he did pass for almost 200 yards last week. Lumpkin County, wow, they are on the trend upward for real offensively. But they got to go to Blairsville, which will make it even more interesting for the Indians. They haven't started 2-0 in, what'd you say, 50 years, Walker?
Yeah, something like that. I'd have to relook up the stat, but it's been a very long time.
I'm going to go with Lumpkin County, though, if you want to call it an upset, I don't know if it will be, but I'm going to go with the Indians this week.
I think it's an upset that you pick Lumpkin.
Okay.
Are you just upset?
No, I think that's an upset.
Who are you picking?
Who you got, Jeff?
I am taking Union County. I was very impressed by what they did against a very good Fannin County team. Being at home, this is Lumpkin's first real test. I think that they are very improved, but to be able to go on the road in a series that has not been good for them over the years, at this stage of the season and what Heath Webb is trying to build at Lumpkin, I think it's too early to say that they've kind of arrived. But I do think that they probably look better than they have in years. But I think Union wins this and probably covers.
Seth?
I'm going to go with Bo and go with Lumpkin.
All right. Mallard Creek at Buford. I go Buford.
Before we start this, I want to make sure I got everybody's picks correctly because I had a snafu on the computer. So me and Caleb took Union. Bo, Seth, and Walker all took Lumpkin.
That'd be correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just look at the helmets. They're right there.
Don't do that to me, Caleb. Don't make me do this in post.
But
It's a post thing. That doesn't make sense.
Were they on the correct side?
Caleb, that doesn't make sense. I do that in post. You can't see it right now.
All righty then. Mallard Creek at Buford. I'm going with Buford in this one. Mallard Creek from North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm taking Buford, and I really don't have a whole lot to say.
Same.
We'll talk more next week when they play North Cobb, but I don't think Mallard Creek's going to be the kind of animal that Thompson and North Cobb are, so I've got Buford winning pretty comfortably, actually.
Buford.
Murphy, North Carolina at Commerce.
Hey, remember what I said last week, that if Commerce beat Southside Christian, you would not hear me pick against Commerce again? So Here we go. I am not picking against Commerce. Commerce over Murphy at home.
You know, you had that set up so beautifully to pick Murphy by saying that. So I really thought you were going to pick Murphy.
No. I keep my word. I'm
okay.
good.
I'm going to go with Commerce also. I was impressed. That was, like I opened the show, that was the most impressive win of the week last week.
Commerce.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Murphy. This is the classic setup for a letdown game. I hope I'm wrong, but I think Murphy can win this game just based off of Commerce winning the big game last week and trying to maybe keep that momentum going into this week. I'll take Murphy close.
Here's an interesting stat on Commerce.
Here it is.
No, this is the fourth game they've ever played against an out-of-state team 2 in 2 weeks. They hadn't faced one since like the 1970s or something like that. 2 out-of-state teams in 2 weeks, and they had only played 2 out-of-state teams in their history until the last 2 weeks. That's kind of interesting.
Did we have Jeff's weekly fact last week?
That's Jeff's weekly fact this week.
Did we have one last week,
No.
or did he just start doing it this week?
New segment.
Do I have to do the leprechaun hat each time I do this? New segment.
Look, that's a lot of pressure to put on me for an interesting fact every single week. I struggle to come up with one a month.
All right, North Forsyth at Forsyth Central. I will go
facts with ideas.
Nofo in this one, guys.
Yeah, I got North Forsyth too.
North Forsyth.
North Forsyth.
North Georgia Falcons at Lanier Christian Academy.
LCA.
LCA. I think it's kind of hard to, pick against them at this point.
LCA all the way around. Riverside at Kings Ridge Academy. I go Kings Ridge.
Yeah, tough to go anywhere but Kings Ridge on this one. It looks like Riverside is still maybe a year or two away from getting kind of their feet back underneath them at this point.
Unfortunately, I think you're correct.
Agreed.
Yeah, Kings Ridge.
Seconder at East Forsyth. I think East Forsyth gets their first win of the season in the opener.
I agree. I like East Forsyth too. Seconder has looked really rough trying to get that program started down there in northern Gwinnett County. Newest school there in Gwinnett. Looking a little rough in the early going. East Forsyth's already got a year under them. So, yeah, I think this is actually a pretty easy call for me. I'll take the Broncos.
East Forsyth as well.
East Forsyth.
EFO around West Hall at Johnson, the Battle of Oakwood. I went with West Hall last week, and it kind of,
didn't work for you?
Didn't work out too well for me.
Who was the only one at this round table who picked East Hall, by the way?
It's not round.
I did.
It's like a
P.
I don't know.
I picked them too.
It has one.
I see.
Two,
I didn't
three,
see your
4,
pick.
5, 6,
I just
7,
hear about them. Did you
9
really?
Sides.
I did.
You did.
It's recorded on pregame show for the Dawson game that I picked East Hall.
Is it really?
This table is in a very strange shape.
Okay.
Yeah. West Hall.
Okay, Walker. I'm gonna let you have that one.
So who you going with? I'm going with West Hall again.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
What are you going with?
I'm taking West Hall too.
Walker.
Sparty.
West Hall.
I am picking Johnson until they win.
There you go.
I'm going with the Knights.
All right.
Okay. Wren, South Carolina at Jefferson.
I'm taking Wren. Jefferson's got some things to fix defensively, and until I see evidence that it's happened, a team like Wren coming in, I'm going to go with them.
Wren.
I'm going to go Jefferson. I think they score enough points this week to be able to win.
Well, they scored plenty of points last week.
Yeah, I was about to say 46 they put on the board.
I think they score enough to win.
I don't think offense is the problem for Jefferson. I think it possibly is the defense because they gave up 48?
47 to Alpharetta, yeah.
47 to Alpharetta. I have no clue about Wren. Jefferson, though, I think they get back on track this week. I will go with the Dragons.
I also am going to go with the Dragons because we almost had a perfect week against out-of-state opponents last week and really should have if Town County hadn't gotten hosed. So I'm going also with Jefferson because I'm going to take our Georgia team against any out-of-state team at this point.
All right. There are all of the picks in from us. And one more portion of the show, though.
Okay.
Walker, who did you take in that Jefferson game?
Jefferson.
Okay,
Jefferson.
I missed that. I missed that. Okay, just wanted to make sure we get you credited with the correct one. So
I appreciate that.
That was
Jeff.
Wren, correct?
All right, Caleb.
Wren?
No, he picked Jefferson. All right, Caleb, it's time for
New segment.
Lock of the week.
Lock of the Week.
Lock of the week.
So I guess, okay, Walker, you go first then. Lock
All right,
of the week.
so we'll go. Here's the order we'll go in based on the finishes last week. We'll go Walker, and then Jeff, and then Seth, and then me, and then Bo.
Although Bo should go before you because he won
Shut up,
last
Jeff.
year.
Moving on. Go ahead, Walker.
Yeah, Jeff said that Union
So
County is
mean.
probably going to cover in the Lumpkin County game. I don't think that's the case. I know I picked Lumpkin to win outright, but even if they lose, I don't think it's 19-point deficit. Give me Lumpkin plus 19.
Okay.
All right, so
Are
Seth,
you keeping up with these?
give me your pen and I will.
Okay.
Thank
It's
you
your
very
pen
much.
that I stole.
Oh, well,
Jeff's next.
Okay. Your turn.
I'm going to go, after some careful consideration and listening to something from you, Caleb, I'm going to go with East Forsyth. That I think that's the lock of the week.
Dana.
That's a good one for sure.
Seth.
Does that put you in a quandary now?
Yeah, it does, because now I got to find a new lock.
Beautiful.
We'll
Beautiful.
also go ahead and reveal the fact that Caleb told you that's the one he wanted to pick.
Yeah, I'm not telling you anything the rest of the week. The rest of the year, I should say.
You just outright. Yeah. Sorry, Caleb. I didn't warn you about that.
No, it's all good. It's your turn, Seth, by the
I
way.
know.
Warning wouldn't help. I got to go first.
Like I think that Rabun and Stevens County game is definitely going to be closer than 15. I'm going to go Stevens plus 15.
Ah, boy, this is tough.
That's a ballsy lock pick right there.
Can we say that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that leaves me with a kind of a limited plate to choose from. But I tell you what.
Are there mashed potatoes on your plate?
No, I'm gonna go with North
That is
Forsyth.
a sad plate.
North Forsyth minus 14 at Forsyth Central. I think North Forsyth covers that.
Wow.
I do. North Forsyth has dominated that series historically, and I think that they will do it again this time. So I'm going to take North Forsyth minus 14 on the road at Forsyth Central.
I'm taking Gainesville to cover.
That's a good one.
Over Mountain View. So mark it down.
That
folks.
that was one of those that was in the running for me. I'm just unsure at this point which Gainesville team we're going to get.
Well, we'll find out coming up tonight as week 2 kicks off. We've got 3 games on air for you, starting on AM 550 at St. Pius at Flowery Branch. FM 102.9, the Battle of Oakwood. Who will win the board? That's Westall and Johnson. Westall is at Johnson, by the way. And then Gainesville hosting Mountain View on 94.5 The Lake. Also, don't forget, right here, let's throw them out because we didn't do it last week on the show. Your Twitter handles, I am at BoWilson56, or I'm at the BoWilson56. You are?
Hart JJ22.
At Hutch9473.
I'm not a big fan of Twitter, but you can find me on Instagram at camera_man_Seth.
At Walker_2411.
And we're at Friday Game Night on our Twitter page as well. Also, Friday nights or tonight we'll have full coverage of our area games, so make sure you check the page out around, 11 o'clock, maybe midnight. You can check out highlights, stories, stats, and more. That's all on Friday Game Night. For the whole crew, enjoy week 2 of high school football. Pick 'em apart in 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, so in 3...
For the love of all things holy.
I forgot I hadn't. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I completely forgot that I hadn't turned my mic off. I forgot. I thought
Not be able to. I'm not seeing that and just hearing it. That was the best thing.
He's got